Welcome back to BNC Live. I'm Tishani Whitlow. Now, before he even started the job, Mike Richards says he's stepping down as host of Jeopardy. Well, Richards, who is also the show's executive producer, has been getting heat after the show snubbed fan favorite LeVar Burton and recent reports about past misogynistic comments allegedly made by Richards. Now, in a statement today, Richards wrote, "It pains me that these past incidents and comments have cast a shadow on Jeopardy as we look to start a new chapter. As I mentioned last week, I was deeply honored to be asked to host the syndicated show and thrilled by the opportunity to expand my role. However, over the last several days, it has become clear that moving forward as host would be too much of a distraction for our fans and not the right move for the show." Well, the shakeup, of course, causing waves on social media. So joining me now to discuss just that, the change, and who is next in line, Clayton Davis, Film Awards editor and host of The Take at Variety. Welcome back to BNC Live, Clayton. Always a pleasure. So let's start with Mike Richards. What did he say or do that led to this abrupt exit? Because, I mean, this is a great gig.
Yeah, I mean, listen, let's talk about, the person that you never heard of falling from grace in seconds. It was the most rapid fall that I think we've witnessed in our current era. A lot of problematic statements he made in the past regarding women and, just inappropriate comments came to light and the surface. And at this point, it was causing a distraction for the show. The show's already in a transition period where the legendary Alex Trebek has to, that legacy has to live on through someone else. The public was already disappointed that fan favorite LeVar Burton didn't get the gig. And, Richards, who executive produced the show, gave himself a job. And only in this type of climate and culture can a white man stand there and give himself a job.
So wait, he chose himself as the new host? Really?
I mean,
Can I do that?
In theory, he did, because he was been with the show for many, many years. So he's part of the conversations that gave himself he's one who's part of that conversation and decides who gets that gig. And listen, they went through a lot of names. I mean, Mayim Bialik was named as, the co-host, quote unquote. They would be sharing duties. Anderson Cooper had co-hosted a few times along with Katie Couric, Bill Whitaker, Dr. Oz. They were trying different things. And, even when Alex Trebek was alive, he said publicly he wanted Laura Coates, who's a CNN commentator, to take that gig. And she never went into the running, never had a guest spot or anything like that. I don't know what they want their identity to be, but listen, fair enough. It's a hard job to have whoever gets it, in the end.
So wait, Lauren Coates, the legal analyst? Our sister,
yeah. So
yes.
Lauren Coates, yes. Yeah. Alex Trebek said publicly when he was here, he said he would love her to take on the job. She had responded via tweet. They kind of had this exchange in the atmosphere, and everyone thought like, hey, that would be great to just see how she would do. And listen, I don't know what the conversations were behind the scenes, if they did go to her, but we never saw her get a shot at it. We saw Robin Roberts, saw George Stephanopoulos, Aaron Rodgers, Ken Jennings, who's, famous former contestant. But a lot of these people need to excite this new generation of Jeopardy goers that are going to be watching this and see if they're going to stick around as long as we stood around for Alex Trebek.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I never would have thought of Lauren Coates, but I could see it now that you presented her. I mean, if the man himself, Alex Trebek, personally said, I want her, why was she never called in the room? Do you have that? You have that little tea?
Oh my God, I wish I did. No, I was not. I don't know why that never went anywhere, but I know when he said it, it excited us. I mean, listen, besides the fact there was going to be a diverse, strong Black woman up there, and she knows her stuff. It would have been amazing to see her take on that role. But again, the role of Jeopardy is the host. I think we underestimate or undervalue how hard that job is and how good Alex Trebek was at it. Minus, just it's not just reading questions and answers. You have to know the information as well and be able to quickly adapt and move to judges for close calls. So I don't know what it's going to end up being in the end, but now that Mike Richards has stepped away, we're going to see who they tap next. And Mayim Bialik, I don't know if that's going to be the final stop on this Jeopardy host search that we've been enduring for quite some time.
Okay, so we have to find out who they're going to tap next, but what does this mean for fan favorite LeVar Burton?
Listen, Reading Rainbow is a staple of our childhood,
Yes!
and I want LeVar Burton in that gig so bad. I don't know. Maybe this really does push them in that direction, and maybe they'll give them another go at it. Listen, I do know that Mike Richards have recorded a few episodes of Jeopardy, which I believe is still scheduled to air at some point. So we're going to see how Mike Richards did, I guess, as they try to figure out who's going to be this next stop. But LeVar Burton is a fan favorite. People know who that is. I think, unfortunately for him, I think he might be too, quote unquote, old for the role.
Wait a minute.
Stepping into it. Meaning it's something that you do grow into. You have to, it's like Alex Trebek started when he was very, very young. This is somebody that, LeVar Burton is a staple. He knows his stuff, but it is a hard job. And I think if you're looking to reach out to that Gen Z crowd, and the TikTok crowd is a different crowd that we don't speak to. I don't speak to them, and I'm not that much older than them. They have to be able to reach them. And I think that's what they're trying to play with. And listen, Mike Richards and Mayim Bialik, not the answer either.
But do you think the Gen Z crowd is watching Jeopardy? Like, come on now. Really?
They're probably not, and that's a very good point. They're probably not watching Jeopardy, but I'm sure Jeopardy wants them to watch Jeopardy.
Good point.
And we are at a crossroads right now in media and entertainment. We have a generation that is coming up that wants different things on television and film and music, all of it. We need to start communicating with them and identifying what their needs and wants are before all this goes away, because we don't know. The whole medium is changing, and we have to be able to adapt to how they're going to want to consume it and how they're going to want to watch it.
All right, Clayton. So last question for you. What happens next?
Next, I guess we'll get a first glimpse at those few episodes that Mike Richards recorded. Mike Richards is still involved with the show up until this point. I think it was the right call for him to step down. And I think the conversations are ongoing, and we'll continue to, listen and hear them as they unfold over the next few weeks. But let me just tell you, counterpart to Jeopardy Wheel of Fortune, Pat Sajak, he's been in that gig for a long time. I can't wait for the Wheel of Fortune story to start, unfolding about, who's jumping into that next, or who the next Vanna White is going to be, because that is another show of a staple generation.
Child, I don't know how those two go together like salt and pepper. I can't imagine one without the other. Seriously. But Clayton, always a pleasure. Really. It's always fun talking with you. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be right back with more news.